Howdy folks, TJ here. I have a new series that I'm starting on my YouTube channel. Wanted to introduce it and don't know how long it will take, maybe many years, because it's going to be all about the Spectrum Next computer. I've been thinking about doing this for a while, but I needed to get my Next and I needed to get more familiar with it before I jumped in, because I want it to be a little bit of an instructional type of video, but not quite, because I'm not no pro with a Speccy. I've been doing this for now, a couple of years now, a year and a half, going on 2 years. So I've learned a lot, but I'm definitely no pro, and I'm no pro with this. So it's more like TJ's a friend on the internet, and I'm going over his house, and we're going to play with his new Spectrum Next, and we're going to do stuff together. And we'll learn together along the way. So you may have already done some of these things. You still may enjoy my antics on doing the video, but it's going to be about following this manual, step by step, page by page, chapter by chapter, and doing it on the Next and videoing some of it. And that's where the instructional part comes in. I'm going to actually type stuff in from the book, and we're going to see what happens on the screen. So if an error happens, you'll see the error happen, and then I'll go, oh, maybe this is how you fix it. So we're going to learn together, and I'm going to kind of try to do it in an instructional way or a fun way that you'll want to follow along with me. So that's my idea. So kind of teaching, kind of not, because I'm definitely no teacher, but I have fun making videos, and I think some folks enjoy the way that I make them, so I thought I'd do it about the Spectrum Next and my adventure on reading this wonderful manual step by step, like I said, page by page, chapter by chapter, and we'll do it together. And it's going to take a while. No promises when each episode will come out. I'll try to keep it, I think, to a half an hour or less for each one. Maybe some short, some long, but on average. Because you know when I'm typing on this thing, I'm doing this all the time. Where's the comma? Where's his? I can't see anything, can't find it, so it may take me a while to do some of these very basic things, but I think it will be fun. So that's my intro. Hopefully you'll follow along, and I'll go ahead and build into this intro. Chapter 1 we'll talk about, and I'm going to glance over most of it because you've seen my unboxing video if you've been on my channel. You've seen my first boot video and things that I went through to boot it up, so you've kind of seen that. So I'm not going to recover those things, but I'm going to glance over Chapter 1. And so it begins on the next page, which is page 14. So 14 is quite a great page to look at. See if I can get the light hitting here. And you'll want to open your own book or download the PDF. I think you can download the PDF for this, for surely if you own one. I still got to do that, by the way. But it shows you the keyboard layout. So I need to start looking at this more often so I'm not doing it like this on my keyboard. So check this page out. And what's cool is there's a little chart down towards the bottom that tells you all the buttons on the side, what they do. And I need to get more familiar with it because right now it's reset, reset, reset. That's what I've been using a lot, and that may be still a button that I'll use a lot. But there's other keys on here, like the NMI for div MMC. When do I use that? I'm sure I'll learn as I read the book. There's the regular NMI button. When do I use that? I'm pretty sure I know because it's similar to my Omni that's over there. But there's stuff. So get familiar with your keyboard. I need to really look at this better because my last video took me forever to find. It was the slash, and I found that it was on the V key. So anyway, check that page out. It's an important page. So let's move on to page 15. Again, I'm going to glance over this because I've kind of covered some of this in my setup. It introduces the Next. So read it for yourself. You'll want to read every line, figure out what it's about. And it talks about 3 different Spectrum models you could have purchased. The Standard, and then on page 16, the Next Plus, and then the Next Accelerated. I'm lucky I own the Accelerated version. Woo. Otherwise, I would have had to pop this thing open and start installing stuff off the get-go. So read those if you need to. You own what you own, but you can upgrade your Next to some degree. And over time, I'm going to explore that too, because there's some things I don't have. I don't have a beeper sound little device on here. I don't think that's covered in the book, at least that I haven't seen yet. But you can buy a little beeper sound device for this and plug it in here. You can buy extra memory. I'll want to do that over time. So let's continue on. Page 16, setting up. I'm not going to cover that in this video because I've kind of already went through setting it up. So let's move on to 17. 17, more setting up stuff. We're going to glance over that. The beauty of internet. I've already done that. You can look at my past video if you want. Page 18, more setting up stuff. You've seen that in my last video. So let's move on to page 19. Let's chat about 19 a little bit. Because do you know that your Speccy Next has different personalities? Different personalities, they say. So it can be many things, kind of like Sybil, if you ever seen that movie. Multiple personalities. So it can be a Speccy 48K. It can be all these different personalities. So check out that page. One that pops into my mind that looks interesting. Investronica ZX Spectrum 128K. Now I know there's all these different Speccies out there from the olden days, made in Russia and all these other places. I don't own any of those. So it's kind of interesting that that's one that pops out on here. Maybe I do need to read more about it. Maybe that particular model had some neat capabilities that I'll want to explore one day. So check out that page, different personalities, and it chats about them a little bit. So let's move on to page 20. Hopefully we can get through chapter 1 in a pretty quick intro video here. Page 20. Anything in here? No, talking about the keyboard and loading of stuff and connecting devices to your Next. Read that for yourself. I think it's important you glance over that. But page 21 is important because there's special keys that I need to get familiar with, because that reset button I was talking about earlier, or at least I think I did, and the NMI buttons and all that, you can do some by holding a particular key down and hitting something else. So this page chats about that. So for example, the function key F1, and that's done throughout this manual. You'll see mentions of function keys F1 through F10. These are only available on physical keys on PS2 external keyboards. Maybe I'll be connecting an external keyboard to this, so I'll want to know this, because this functionality is available on standard keyboard by pressing and holding the NMI button on the left side of your computer, and one of the numeric keys 1 through 0 below. So for some reason I had thought I could do that from here. Let me make sure I'm reading that right. Throughout this manual you'll see mentions of function keys F1 through F10. These are only available as physical keys on PS2 external keyboards. Okay, so I won't be able to do that on this, at least for my reading so far. So I won't be, I guess if I had a PS2 keyboard I could do that. So anyway, read all the function keys F1 through F10. Whoa! Error alert here. My first one. So if you just heard me say that I wouldn't be able to do those functions on here, I had to reread like I said. So error along with TJ as he's going on, but then he may pick up on it. So yes, you actually can do those from here. What it's saying is if you're holding the NMI button on here and then hitting one of the number keys up on the top, you get that functionality. Or if you have an external PST keyboard and you have the function keys, you get them there too. There you go. First error that we had together, but we pulled it out. We're all right. We figured it out. We're all right. Everything's good. I could just see some, pro Nexties going, TJ, that's an error, man. No way you could do it on the keyboard. I made it. I got it all right. We're good. Cool. First error. More to come. And let's just quickly, it's noteworthy also that the reset button on the left side operates differently according to how it's pressed. All right, see, I didn't realize that. Good that I'm reading, right? WTFM stands for Read the Fantastic Manual. I won't be using the other F word in my video. So yes, it's a fantastic manual. Hey man, did you just say WTFM? Weed? The Fantastical Manual? I think that was error number 2, TJ, because it's RTFM. Get it right. All right. So it acts differently. A short press of less than 1 second does a soft reset, while a long press does a hard reset. The NMI button is similar as a single press with a launch the NMI menu or multi-face menu. If you're in the right personality, there's the personality again. So it is important to read all this stuff because you got personalities involved, you got all these things. But I think read this tighter. I'll read this tighter off camera. I can't make 30 minutes just on me trying to understand that little part there. But there are functions that you can do some of these by keyboard control rather than just hitting a button on the side. Good to know. All right. Startup menu. I don't think we need to cover that. Menu items, differences. Okay, let's actually, we'll bypass page 22. We'll move on to 23. Next basic editor, because the next chapter gets you right into programming, I believe. So it's probably good that we understand getting in the next basic. And it does talk about largely operates as the classic Spectrum 128K models, did notably exception that it now supports apart from the standard 32 columns, 64 and 85 column modes, and additionally has color-coded cursors as described below to denote the mode the editor is in. So this one may be one I'm going to have to read a couple dozen times for it to all sink in. But it looks like you have more than just 32 columns now. You can 64 and 84 column, and it looks like it's going to be in a high-res mode. So if you want to do programming, it's going to be important. You'll probably want to have that full screen capability or 85 columns, and you'll want to understand what some of the cursor appearances are telling you. So read that stuff. I'm not going to cover it here until later on when I'm actually doing it, because then you'll see me doing it for the first time and going, oh, that's what that means. Cool. All right. Page 24 continues on the column information, gets into other editing keys, special combinations. Read that for yourself. I can't cover that in immediate stuff until later where we're going to use it for the first time. Next basic options menu. Oh, okay, here, the edit options menu, individual options are selected in the same way as the startup menu. So there's other, next basic, this option cancels the edit menu and restores the cursor. On the face of it, not very useful. However, if edit is pressed accidentally, then this option allows you to return to the program with no damage done. There's so much little nitty-gritty in here, I'm going to have a hard time remembering. It takes me a couple dozen punches in the face to, oh, okay, I'll remember it. Jeez. So this page is important to read. I think for right now it's going to be confusing me just yapping what the book says and not doing it. So you may not comprehend it either. But I'm kind of building up this intro and what we're going to be really diving into on the computer here in a little bit. So let's move on to page 26. How many more pages is this chapter? Whoa, there's quite a few. I think this video is going to have to be cut a little bit short. I've got this many more pages to go through, and it jumps right into basic programming concepts, which is where we're going to really start using this computer. So let's get on to page 26, see if there's anything in here of value. Oh yeah, there's all sorts of stuff that you're going to have to read. And there's some things that I think I'm going to type on the screen because it does go right into you can start programming, and it gives me a 10 for f equal 1 to 100, step 100. So there's a little stuff on here that's kind of a precursor to somebody that has diddly squat knowledge of programming, which I guess that's kind of me, although I've made a game already, so I kind of understand that comment. But I think I'm going to stop at page 25, call this video done. I've introduced it. Hopefully you'll jump in on my next videos where we'll pick up on here and actually type in this and see what it does on the screen. Fair? Cool. So that's this video. Hopefully you enjoy this idea that I have of joining me at my home, programming and doing stuff on the Next, following through chapter for chapter. Some stuff you need to do as your own homework. You need to read yourself and read some of these things because I glanced over it, and I'm going to have to go back and read it before I do it because I started getting confused. Simple as that. You know, 85 columns, 32 columns. These cursor's going to look like this. I've got a lot to memorize here. And you're only going to memorize it if you do it on the Next. So, cool. There you go. That's my video. Hopefully this all coming in okay. I'm going to have to edit it, get it going, and thanks for watching, and look forward to the next video where we'll finish off chapter 1 and go right into chapter 2. Thanks for watching. Have a nice weekend, everyone. See ya. Alright, so you saw I talked about my error 1, and I wanted to just actually do a couple of the, or at least one, of the NMI button function key dealy bobs, just to say that I've done it. So was it page, what the heck page was it? There we go, page 21. So if I hold the NMI key over here and hit the number 1, it should do a hard reset. There's an F2 scan doubler. Soft. Let's do a soft reset and see what it does. That seems fairly harmless. And that would have been F4. So I'm going to hold NMI and hit the number 4. There we go. Soft reset. Do we want to try a hard reset? Well, what the heck? NMI 1. Yep. Yep. There you go. Cool. Now the next thing that I kept reading on, so I thought I'd cover here, since we're going to be getting in the Next Basic. Let's go to Next Basic, and you'll see that's the regular 32 column. How about if I want 60, was it 64? 85? How do you get there? Well, there's this cool key on the keyboard called Edit. I finally read the manual. Read the fancy manual. There's a lot of things you can use F for, right? Edit. Look at that. A new screen popped up. Let's go down and hit highlight 32, 64, 85 and hit the return key. Whoa, look at that little guy. Cursor got smaller. Everything looks bigger, I guess. Or actually, I should say smaller for text-wise. That's the 64 column. You notice it's only in black. It's not color. So that's why the manual started talking about the cursor is going to look different depending on what you're doing. So if I'm going to program in this 64 or 85 column mode, I'm going to have to learn some stuff. Let's go ahead and hit edit again and select 32, 64, 85. What happens? Got even smaller. I think it did. Looks like it's probably the 85 column mode. Edit. Now it's back to that. So it cycles through them. So edit down there. Little different. Edit down there. Little different. Edit down there. Back to normal. There you go. I'm going to do the color mode. I like color. I like everything big on the screen. Because as you can see, I look over my glasses and I'm kind of getting blind. So cool. I'm glad I researched that or read a little more. And now let's jump into programming those couple of lines of code. Will be my first Next code and see what happens. All right, first coding, page 27. I'm just going to start typing. I didn't read everything verbatim here, but on page 26 it talks about the Next Basic language. And so you may want to read that. And it talks about a couple of the commands. But let's just go into typing what it says here and see what happens. See if something explodes. So it says, and I'm going to do it at the 32 column. I prefer having the color and everything big on the screen for my eyes. So works for me. So 10, and then it says 4, F equals 1. Oh, jeez. I hit the edit key. 4. F equals 1. 2. 100. Step 10. Oh, ATO. Who's ATO? That sounds like a Star Wars character. STEP. 10. My first line of code. Woo! Then 20. Plot. Definitely different because my programming was on the Omni and I did the 48K basic and I had to get familiar with where all the keys are. So being able to just type it straight out is a little different for me. Plot 0, 0. And then a colon. I remember where the colon is. I couldn't on my last video. Draw. F, comma, 175, colon, plot 255, comma, 0, colon, draw, minus sign, F. Told you it was going to take a long time for me to type this in. I'm kind of blind and trying to find the stuff on the keyboard. Comma 175. 2 lines of code done. Awesome. So in the booklet here, it's just having me, that's where I'm typing this stuff in. So let's move on to page 28. It says, don't worry about line 20 spilling over to the next line of screen. The computer will take care of that for me. So awesome. 30, next F. All right. And then looks like I'm going to run it. Hey, my first program on the Next. Big time. Cool. All right, so that's good. I've got that in here. So let's keep on moving along. It talks about making some variations and stuff. It does talk about what 0, OK, comma 30, colon 1 is. It says, don't worry about what this report means. All right, I won't. Let's change it. So it looks like to prove the editor really is working in the bottom screen. Well, let me see what it's talking about. Now press edit and select screen op. Okay, so I do need to read a little bit more here. It's going to have me change screen stuff. So edit. And I think it's telling me to, and select screen. All right, I've done that. What's it say here? The editor moves the program down into the bottom screen and gets rid of the footer bar. You can only see line 10 of the program as the rest is hiding off screen. You can prove this by moving the cursor up and down. Well, I've got 2 lines obviously, but probably had me want to change something up here, which I didn't do. All right, so I guess that kind of cool. I guess there's a purpose for that. Kind of cleans things up a little bit, I guess. And it probably explains it up here in the book a little bit. You might think that this would mess up the top screen. However, The computer remembers whatever's behind the edit menu. All right, cool. To prove that the editor is really working, press enter and change line 10. No, I don't think we need to do that. First, maybe a new program. So let's type in the word new. Oh, see, I just couldn't start typing it in there, could I? So what changed here? Do I have to go to the end and hit new? No, it doesn't work that way either. So it probably means I'm going to just guess here. Edit. Get back up into here. Oh, jeez. New. Just little things you stumble along the way. Interesting, cool. So type new. Do I need to run this hello world? Do you want me to type that in? You're probably bored already, but that's all right. We're at the end, so just hold tight here. Press A here. I think that's it. Earlier we examined. That's it. That is it. So we're moving to chapter 2. So this video is done. Let me edit it. So we've now officially kind of done the intro video and played around with the keyboard a little bit. And we'll move on to the next video. Thanks for watching. See ya.